Good afternoon and welcome back to another ironic introduction to another video. Today we were blessed with a community boss rush challenge. I love these things. There's always a nice 5-star in there, some cheeky titles, and some really well designed fights that you get to, enjoy and struggle through. Challenge being the emphasis there. Now, a lot of times these boss rushes come out and you need like a specific champion here or there, or like specific utility in order to push your way through. But this one, it is possible to do the full completion run without any specific champions. I'm just telling you, it's not necessarily going to be a good time, and it's definitely not necessarily going to be free. That said, if you're trying to do it strictly off playstyle, you're not afraid to use revives, or maybe you have just like really hard-hitting rank 5 stars, like a 5-star Star Lord or something, and you're pretty confident you can push through just with raw damage, feel free to approach it from this perspective. Now, again, be mindful that there's always going to be better like specific counters, but this video is just to talk about the playstyles. So this X23 has Matador, so every time she throws a special, you gain a bar. She has Spite, so whenever you have an active buff, she gains power. Godslayer, which is increased crit hit damage, and Indomitable, meaning you can't reverse her healing, it can only be prevented instead. Now, initially you see Spite and you're like, oh, you need to bring a power control champion. Well, this fight actually doesn't have special 3 active. And so, for the most part, you can literally just hammer into the X23, parry combo, dodge the special 2, parry combo. You don't have to worry about triggering dexterity as long as you're mindful to never get hit by a special 1 or a special 2. Just stick to your standard parry, 5-hit combo, and profit. And that's really the whole fight here. Nothing too crazy. The major thing here is just that, it's gonna be a lot of specials if you're triggering buffs or you're triggering dexterity. And if you get hit by a special 2 from X23, it's gonna rip your health to pieces because Godslayer. But overall, definitely a fight you can just get through with like a standard parry combo method. Overall, a really good time. We move on to Medusa, and this is where the special 3 is active. So she has Counter Strike. Whenever you use the dexterity mastery, you get an attack fury, but when you do that 10 times, she goes unblockable for 15 seconds. So you don't want to do that 10 times. Pilfer Regeneration, anytime you activate a buff, the buff can be nullified and she gains a burst of power. Invade, which is both champions have 100% block penetration and 300% attack when hitting into a block and cornered. Now, it's not like super roster restrictive, but you do generally want to bring a champion who doesn't apply a damage over time effect here, because that's just going to be absolutely miserable for you, and you don't want to bring a champion who buffs. So, I know I said this isn't like roster intensive. I'm not going to declare any specific rosters. You just don't want to be bringing someone with a buff or someone with damage over times. The buff one you can kind of get away with as long as it's not like repeatedly triggering buffs. But for the most part, as long as you're not triggering cornered, you'll be okay. But even if you do, it's not too bad, because essentially with Medusa, all you're going to do is you're going to dodge back and you're going to wait for a moment for her to go into a force block, and then you're going to pummel her block with like a 4-hit combo, and then you're gonna back off, rinse and repeat. And when she has 3 Furies, you can actually intercept. It will trigger the auto block on the 2nd hit, and then you can do your normal 4-hit combo, rinse and repeat. So as long as you're only intercepting, hitting into her block, fight is absolutely great. That kind of methodology is going to work wonders for you. Just be mindful that you want to do this all without ever parrying, because even if you parry, you're going to take a lot of damage. Now, if your champion is healthy or you have like a rank 5-star, you can parry and just eat the damage, or maybe you just want to push through with like revives and potions, you can do that as well. Overall, a fight you can get through with that. Just be mindful that hitting into her block and using that 3 Fury auto block from her on her awakened ability to your advantage to get extra damage is really ideal. Next up is Wasp. Now, Wasp has spiked armor, so crits are gonna cause you to take some thorns. Dismay means you essentially never want to get hit, otherwise you're just gonna die to dismay. Enhanced shock is, when Wasp shocks you, you're probably gonna die. And Plague Mind means that you can't really rely on your power. So essentially, this Wasp, all you do is just parry 3-hit combo and bait special 1s. Use the special 1 to punish her with a 5-hit 4-hit combo, and then go right back into your bait 3-hit, parry 3-hit combo. And that's it. Any champion can do this fight. Definitely some better options out there to like deal with the evade mechanic. But those are the first 3 fights, nice and easy. And then you run into your first snag. Now this Emma Frost, we have a lot to consider here. So first off is aggression regeneration. So you can always heal reverse, and you can always bring like an armor break, which will make this fight easier. But let's say you're not using either of those. This is the playstyle you have to think about. So 1, you have to play relatively aggressive to keep that aggression regeneration down, which means that when she doesn't have a bar of power, you're going to want to get good at the 4-hit combo, dodge, back, dash, and intercept to keep the aggression going, as well as you're going to want to get good at dodging the special 1 and punishing it so that you can keep the aggression high and keep her on a special 1 rotation. After that, you have kinetic transference. So every time she hits into your block, she's gaining power, which is going to be how you start the fight for the most part, unless you do a dodge intercept start. But a lot of people will probably just start with a reparry start and then oscillate and enhance special 1. So enhance special 1 means that if she's throwing a special 1, you can only dodge it. You cannot just block the first hit, dodge the second hit, and then punish the special 1. You have to dodge the first hit as well, which does add an intense layer of difficulty to this fight, especially if she's being stingy with her specials. But that's where Oscillate comes into play. So Oscillate, she cycles between a Fury passive and an armor/crit resistant passive. So when she has the Fury passive, she's gonna be more aggressive in general. That's gonna let you do your 4-hit back off intercept combo. It's also going to allow you to expect her to throw a special 1. So you can back off when she has a Fury and she has a special 1, and you know it's gonna come. When she has the armor up, that's where we run into the awkward situation of Emma Frost just kind of like holding block in the corner and like charging up aggression regeneration. Unfortunately, you just gotta like stay calm and recognize that it'll pass, and you know, just hit into her block like twice and then back off and hope you can bait that special 1 that way. But yeah, you just got to be careful. It's definitely frustrating, but as long as you like keep her in the aggressive cycle, you'll be okay. And if you're really struggling, like every time she gets that armor up, she's just playing super defensive and the aggression regeneration is healing her faster than you can get damage out during the aggressive cycles, then don't be afraid to use the first 15 seconds of the fight to use the aggressive window and get a bunch of damage on Emma Frost, and then use the second, 15 seconds, just quit out, revive, and then go back in. Now, Armor Break is going to make this playstyle a lot easier, so like Captain Marvel movie, Medusa, etc. But again, you don't need to bring Armor Break to do this method. You just got to be able to reparry, you got to be able to intercept, and you got to be able to dex the special 1. That is the key to this Emma Frost fight. If you can dex the special 1 flawlessly, you can rinse and repeat, and you'll get there eventually. After that is Rogue. This Rogue fight is by far the worst fight in this whole rush. Like, if we're talking about fights that is going to cause people to rage, this is it. So Rogue also has aggression regeneration, so you got to keep that aggro up in order to really handle her. Has invade, which actually helps her out a lot more than it helps you. Like on the Medusa, you can punish the block really well, and it's super great. But on Rogue, because of like invade plus aggression regeneration plus brawl, she's just going to heal a lot of health. So you need to cycle between hitting into her block for free damage and like benefiting off that node, and hitting Rogue to make sure that you're actually removing the aggression regenerations, so that she's not just constantly healing, and backing off because of brawl, that you're just not dying to unstoppability. Now, if we're talking about getting through it with just straight revives, essentially, as long as she hasn't thrown a special, because Aspect of Death means that she's just going to one-hit kill you, you can essentially just start the fight, throw a parry, 5-hit combo her, or 4-hit combo back off, intercept, 4-hit combo, and when brawl triggers, just wail on her, get as much damage as you can, revive, and keep going. This is like the tip I would use for people who don't have a specific counter for this fight, don't have any like the skills maybe to push their way through on like a longer method, just because like not everybody has when they're pushing this content. But yeah, essentially, if you don't have a proper counter and you're not confident in your skills, start the fight off with a parry, eat the heavy damage, do a light hit to make sure your hit lands so that you're not going straight into a block or something, throw a 4-hit combo, back off, do a 5-hit combo after an intercept, and then back off, and then try to hit into her block a few times, let brawl trigger, and then just pummel and just, take the blow for blow, get as much damage as you can, revive, and continue. As far as actually getting a proper one-shot, that is where specific counters come to play. Now, people with power gain, like Hyperion, they can use the Brawl window to throw like a special one where they will still have the time to like back off. Heal reversal, like Void, can absolutely obliterate this rogue if you're good enough to get it off before, she pins you in the corner. But overall, this fight, it's tough, and it's going to be a lot of chip damage for a lot of people, but push your way through and you'll get there. And look up, because there's going to be some options like heal block there as well for like specific options. But if you don't have one of those specific options, it's all about getting as much damage out of the short period of time you have as possible so you can push to Clairvoyant. Now, Clairvoyant, I think is probably like my favorite fight in this entire matchup because if you bring a bleed immune, any bleed immune champion will work. You can get into a really, really solid rotation with Claire. So Mighty Charge 3 means that she's unstoppable and immune to debuffs when she dashes in. Safeguard means that you can only deal 1% health every time you hit her. Empowered Immunity means she gains power every time she's immune to something. Matador means the attacker gains 1 bar of power each time the defender throws a special, and Curse of Death activates her awakened ability essentially when she hits 20 charges. So when I say bring a bleed immune, what I mean is you're going to push Claire into a special 1, and Claire is primed to throw her special 1 fairly aggressively. So you push her into her special 1, and then she special 1s. It's a very easy forecasted dodge. You dash back into punish. She's gained power because if you brought a bleed immune, every time your champion is immune to a debuff, she gains power. And then your 5-hit combo is going to push her into a special 1 again. And then you can see how this rinses and repeats. She throws a special 1, you dodge, you punish. Fun times for all. Yes, you're going to have to do it a lot. It's going to be a relatively long fight, but overall, it's still really easy. Now, let's say she hits the 20 Clairvoyant charges, because she probably will. And she's not gaining power, so you can't just do the special 1 rotation, special 1 punish, rinse and repeat. Just wait for her to just dash in and do a simple re-parry technique because both are heavy. If she happens to heavy, she goes in, you parry, and she goes straight into a heavy, you can punish the heavy. Or she dashes in, you parry, it doesn't stun her, you parry again, that's going to stun her, and then you can combo her from there. Honestly, this is really one of the fights that can be done with absolutely anyone. It's just longer, and you just got to be mindful that if she has 20 Clairvoyant charges, she is going to get a little bit of extra health at the end of the fight, so that essentially you have to kill her twice unless you were able to do it without getting her to 20 Clairvoyant charges. So overall, that is the boss rush if you're only looking at it from a playstyle perspective, with a smattering of potential roster counters. That said, my overall take on this entirety of this boss rush is it was tough. It was maybe not the hardest we've had, but I think just this Emma Frost and this Rogue alone is enough to make it a hard wall for a lot of people. Even myself, these were very, very challenging fights. If you're walking in with rank 4 5-stars or rank 5 5-stars, this content wasn't made for you. If you're walking in with only 4 stars, this content wasn't made for you. Unfortunately, that's just the reality, but it's definitely doable. You can do it with anyone. So go in there, get your 5-star, grab your title, and enjoy the rewards. That said, I'll talk to you all later, and peace.